If you asked world champions which opening best represents classical chess, many of them would give you the same answer: the Ruy Lopez. The Ruy Lopez is one of the most solid, coherent, and instructive structures in chess. Its main purpose is not to surprise or seek quick advantages, but to build a healthy position from the very beginning, develop the pieces harmoniously, and prepare the middle game with clear plans. It is an opening that teaches you how to really play chess, control the center, gradually improve your pieces, and understand when to attack and when to wait. That is why it is so widely used at all levels, from learning to competition, and why it remains relevant after so many years. Everything begins with the fight for the center. Placing a central pawn not only claims space, but also opens lines so the pieces can develop smoothly. The opponent responds in the same way, accepting the central challenge and maintaining the balance. This initial exchange sets the tone. Neither side avoids the center, both fight for it. The next logical step is to develop minor pieces, and here a fundamental move appears, developing the knight to a natural square. This move fulfills several functions at once. It activates a piece, prepares castling, and also creates a direct threat against the opponent's central pawn. From move 2, a key chess concept is introduced: the initiative. Having the initiative means being the one who poses the problems. It is not just about attacking, but about forcing the opponent to react. Every threat generates a response, and the one who responds usually loses time, while the other continues developing their plan. That is why it is so important to create pressure from the very beginning, even if it does not materialize immediately. Black, in a coherent way, develops their own knight to defend the attacked pawn. This response is natural and solid. It develops a piece and neutralizes the threat. From here, white has several reasonable options, but one of the most characteristic is developing the bishop to an active square that points directly at a key defensive piece. This move defines the Ruy Lopez. The bishop not only develops, but also exerts pressure on the knight that defends the center. Again, it is not an immediate threat, but a strategic tension. The message is clear: that defensive piece could be exchanged at the right moment, weakening control of the center. One of the most important ideas of the Ruy Lopez is that many threats are not meant to win material, but to make the opponent's position uncomfortable. Sometimes nothing happens for many moves, but the psychological and strategic pressure is always present. Here it is important to understand something fundamental. In chess, not all threats seek an immediate gain. Often, it is about conditioning the opponent's play, limiting their options, and forcing them to play in a certain way. The Ruy Lopez is a perfect example of this type of long-term pressure. Black usually responds by pushing a pawn to attack the bishop. At first glance, it seems contradictory. The bishop is pressuring an important piece, and the opponent decides to attack it instead of reinforcing it directly. However, this move serves a clear strategic function, gaining space and asking the bishop what it intends to do. At this point, an important decision arises. Exchanging the bishop for the knight is possible, but doing so too early usually grants the opponent the bishop pair, which can be a long-term advantage. Therefore, in most cases, the bishop retreats, maintaining the tension. The exchange is not abandoned, it is simply postponed. The bishop pair is often considered an advantage because bishops coordinate very well in open positions. For that reason, in the Ruy Lopez, the side that gives up one of its bishops does so only when there is a clear strategic reason. The game continues with the development of more pieces. Black brings out their bishop, prepares to castle, and consolidates their position. Early castling is a constant in this opening, as it allows the rooks to connect and start thinking about more ambitious plans. One of the central themes of the Ruy Lopez is choosing the right moment to act in the center. It is not about pushing pawns without preparation, but about coordinating pieces before opening the position. That is why white often delays the central advance until everything is ready. Very often, a rook move appears that, although it looks quiet, has great depth. It reinforces the center, protects a key pawn, and, above all, eliminates tactical resources for the opponent. Thanks to this reinforcement, white can consider exchanges or advances without fear of immediate counterplay. Black usually responds by occupying the center with pawns, seeking space and freeing their pieces. This central struggle is the heart of the opening. There are no direct attacks on the king, no fireworks, but every move has a clear purpose: improve one's own position and make the opponent's more difficult. Many famous games with this opening are not decided until deep into the middle game or even the end game. It is an opening that rewards patience and punishes haste. From here, the game enters a more strategic phase. White usually prepares the definitive central break, taking care of important details such as avoiding annoying pins or unfavorable exchanges. Small pawn moves may seem slow, but they serve very specific purposes to prevent, prepare, and consolidate. One of the most common plans is to maintain piece flexibility. Instead of placing a knight on its ideal square immediately, a longer maneuver is carried out that allows better support of the center or the appropriate flank. These types of maneuvers are typical of the Ruy Lopez and teach a lot about planning. As Black, for their part, looks for counterplay. They try to exchange the opponent's active pieces, free their own forces, and at the right moment contest the center with more energy. The position is usually balanced but full of nuances. A small mistake can tip the balance. What matters most in this opening is not learning an exact sequence of moves, but understanding which pieces want to go to which squares and why. Every move responds to a general idea, improving coordination, maintaining pressure, or preparing a future break. The Ruy Lopez teaches patience. It teaches that you do not always have to capture what you can capture, nor attack when not all the pieces are ready. Many times, the best move is the one that improves the position without changing anything immediately. It also teaches how to tell a coherent story, from the initial pressure on the center, through the tension between bishop and knight, to the preparation of the central advance. Everything follows a logical thread. If at any moment you cannot explain why you made a move, it is probably not the best one. Ultimately, the Ruy Lopez is a school of chess in itself. It helps you understand concepts such as initiative, development, pawn structure, and long-term plans. It does not seek to win quickly, but to win well. Understanding this opening is learning to play with purpose from the very first move. And when you understand the script, the board stops being a chaos of pieces and becomes a story that advances move by move. And now that you know how to use and develop the Ruy Lopez, it is your moment to put it into practice. And the best way to do it is by joining BlackChess Academy, link in the description.